Hello and welcome to another successful garden design show. In this episode, we're going to look at how you incorporate a garden room or a shed or a gazebo into an existing garden and have it look right so that it looks like it was always meant to be part of the design. If you're frustrated your garden doesn't look as beautiful as it could, even though you've purchased lots of lovely plants, then help is at hand. Plants are not enough. You have to have a good design layout. And when you combine design with the beauty of plants, that's when the magic really happens. It's our mission here at Successful Garden Design to show you how to do it, and it's much easier than you may think. I'm Rachel Matthews, and I've been a professional international garden designer for over 25 years, and I teach garden design online. So when you're designing any garden, it's always very helpful if you try and think of whatever you might need that goes in at the outset of the design. But as we all know, life happens, and it's not always possible to know what you may want further down the line. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at just that problem for a very awkward customer. Yes, it's my own garden. I've completely changed what I want to do with it, so the end of the garden has to radically change. Now, those of you that may have seen my previous episode of the Grow Together series will know that I've sort of changed my view on vegetables quite considerably, and I won't be growing as many as I had originally thought I would, which means I no longer need my lovely polythene tunnel in my garden. So there's something else that I really, really want, but it's going to be a bit of a struggle to fit it in because it's considerably larger than the polythene tunnel. So the garden room I've got my heart set on is actually a garden sauna. Now, I do intend to use it for things other than just sauna. I think if I can get enough light in there, it would make a lovely reading room for the days when it's bright outside, but it's not quite warm enough to sit outside. And also, perhaps in the winter months, if I've had a sauna first thing in the morning, all that residual heat, if I had a little pop-up table, I could also work in there for a few hours as well. So it's a multifunctional garden room, but primarily I'm treating myself to a garden sauna. So regardless of what feature you're wanting to put in your garden, be it a shed, gazebo, garden office, sauna, hot tub, the principles that I'm going to show you are exactly the same for the thought process and what you go through to do it. So let's take a look at the problem area and come up with some solutions. So the first job was to triple check the measurements. So although I'd already drawn up the plan, I just wanted to make sure, absolutely sure, as every single last centimetre is critical with this, that the measurements were right. So this is the size of the sauna that I want, and as you can see, it is ridiculously close to the existing planter. Now I have sort of mentally toyed with the idea of, okay, it could go over here, and yes, that's a much better fit, but the problem we've got here is that the evening sun is here and I sit here a lot, and the barbecue's there, and so is the furniture, so entertaining this area is used a lot. It'd be a real shame to be over here in the shade. So yes, this would make a better seating area, but also because at the moment I have that wooden structure for the planting, again, it's very going to be side heavy with timber, so doesn't work that way, doesn't fit. So the only place it can really properly go is going to be here. So yeah, it is far too close to that. You would never design it like that. The only plus point is because it's a circle, the only part of it that does come this far in is actually above the height of the planter. So I can shimmy past pretty easily, but it's how it's going to look. But because my cold plunge pool perfectly fits in here, it would be really handy to put up with the having to shimmy past. It's whether it's going to look okay, because that is too close. Until it's there, I can't say for sure, but I've played around with Photoshop, and because this curves in so much, it's only a small proportion that actually is quite close to that, and also it's higher than this part, so I might get away with it. It's not ideal. If that fails, plan B would be just to take out this existing border and I'll have to come up with somewhere else for the cool tub, probably where it is now, which is here, hidden behind the solar panel, but again, that's not ideal. As I already have this planting border here, and I want the cold plunge pool, it would be really good if I can make this work. So the main issue is screening the neighbours that are over here. So I'm thinking of putting in, I've got some from the security trellis that I put up here, I've got some leftover pieces, and I was thinking I could just pop those along here to have a little bit of extra height and screening, and then some planting in here and then some planting in there, because I'm not going to be able to bury the cold plunge pool 100%. It's going to be at least to the height of the back wall here. So I did wedge some in to give myself an idea. Unfortunately, they collapsed the moment I took the photograph, but there's two windows up to the right that these with the planting, and obviously they'd be vertical and spaced properly, that should be just enough to screen it. Also, what I'd like to do is put some planting in here to try and screen it as much as possible, and in here and in here, so that as they're looking down the garden, you see this area as little as possible. And I can put some grasses, and possibly I've got that silver birch that's going to need to be moved, so that could at a push go in here, or maybe it would be better probably in here, somewhere like that, just so that there's a bit of screening. But the advantage of having it here is I can help block the roof of the house opposite, which would be nice. So the other very important factor that I looked at when doing this was, this is a 2-metre diameter, and it was important that this was smaller than the lawn here. Thankfully this is 2.5 metres, because we want the ever decreasing circles, because if this had been larger diameter than this one, it would have looked really out of place. So yeah, it does fit. It's really not ideal at all, because there's very little space here to shimmy through, so it is going to look a little bit strange, but I think it's worth trying it, because this is the most convenient, because I can fit everything I want in. So I've had a bit of a play on Photoshop to see how things would look. Now this is the basic model with the wooden door. Now obviously I'd like the fancy designer one with the glass panel, because then the whole room becomes a lot more usable because of the light levels. I can use it to work or read. It's worth the investment because it will get a lot more use than if it was just a sauna. Now, of course, there's just the small matter of paying for this little extravagance of mine. But as luck would have it, next week, Successful Garden Design celebrates our 14th anniversary. So I was going to have an anniversary sale on all my garden design courses. So if you'd like to support my finally finishing my garden and my lovely garden room, then feel free to purchase a garden design course at a discount, so it's a win-win. You'll know exactly where the funds are going. But not everybody wants to buy a garden design course, and many people have appreciated the thousands of hours I've put in over the last 14 years with all the free content, and the fact that I don't monetize my YouTube channel so it can be watched advert free. So if you'd like to make a donation to Rachel's Garden Sauna Fund, then I will put a link at the bottom of this video where you can donate should you so wish, and it would be very much appreciated. So in the next episode, I'll show you the planting plan that I'm going to do, so that I've got the good screening, colour, and I'm going to put some medicinal plants in the garden as well. So I'm not completely scrapping all of my original ideas, just not as many vegetables as the first garden had. And talking of vegetables, I'm also going to do an update on the electroculture, JDAM and control group experiment that I did with the vegetables, because I finally dug up the harvest and there were some very interesting results. So that will be in the next Grow Together garden episode, and in the next garden design show I will show you the planting plan. So until next time, take care. Bye bye.